This conference will now be recorded.
So
Raghav, one question. Like in case because we are giving it to a user entry, right? For this number, if someone
yeah,
enters zero or one, what should we do?
then the error will automatically be there, right? Like it will have wait, I'll just check what will happen. Let's see. Okay, if it's a zero number, that will come until in the next sessions. I'll explain to you that there's a special function for that also. Okay, it's about try and exception.
Okay.
Let's do that after. Yeah.
Okay. That's why I put elif statement saying that if zero or one someone enters, I will
Yeah, or else you can
say
take
this.
two, right? You can give a if statement over here saying if it's a zero or one, then don't go into a loop. You
Hmm.
can do something like that
Okay.
without the concepts. Yeah. Let me go over here. Yeah. So let's start our 8th session of Python for undergraduates. In this session, we're gonna go to part 3 of our course. This is design thoughts. In the part 3, we're gonna discuss about functions. So first we'll discuss about built-in functions. Then we'll create our own functions. After that, we'll discuss what are parameters and arguments. Then we'll see the difference between pass by reference and pass by value. Then let's see the different types of arguments. And then lastly, we'll see the scope of variables. So first, what is a function? A function is a block of code which only runs when it's called. So whenever we call a function, the program inside the function gets executed, and you can pass data inside the function. They are known as parameters or arguments. Parameters or arguments both are same, and function can return the data. And the main use of function is it is reusable. We can use the same function n number of times in our code. Okay. So now let's get to know about some built-in functions. So you might have unknowingly used some of the built-in functions. Like we have used print function. The best built-in function is print function. I've told you about the help function, the list function, the len function, format function. So we have used many of these functions unknowingly till now, right? Let's just take some examples for now. Let's see some 2 to 3 examples. Okay. Save it as functions. Okay, so let's just use some of the built-in functions. First function, let's try to use absolute. Okay, I'll just define a variable x is equal to minus 10. Now I'll just try to, the first built-in function we are using from the start is print. Okay, that's one of the best example. And then inside this I'll use another function as abs. Abs means absolute function, absolute value of anything. So I want the absolute value of x. Let me just say here the absolute value of x is. So now let's run this. So this is coming 10. So what does absolute value does is it just removes a sign. Like if it's a positive value, then it will remain the positive value, and if it's a negative value, it will get converted into a positive value. It's something like the mod value, mod of something value. Okay, and then let's try. I'll take another way thing as, let's say, string. I'll say it as functions. Okay, now let's print the length of the string is, and I'll give here len of string. You guys remember this, right? We used len before also. What does len do? Can anyone tell? Shreyas, can you tell me what does len do?
It checks the length of the string.
Length of the string means what is it mean?
Checks how many places are there.
Yeah, checks how many characters are there.
Yeah.
Simply, right? Yeah. So if I run this, so there are 9 characters in functions. Sorry. Yeah, there are 9 characters in functions. So let me just take another example. Let's say list. I'll do with a list now. I'll have some values 35, 50, 75, 99. Yeah, we'll take these. Yeah, I'll add one more value, 33. Okay, so now let's say print the maximum and minimum. Let's print the maximum and minimum values. Okay, the max and min values of the list are. So here I want a maximum and minimum value. So the function used over here is max. So you want max of list. Oh, sorry, we should not name it as list because it's an inbuilt function. So don't name any variables or anything with which is corresponding to an inbuilt function. Okay, that will give you, sometimes it will raise an error to you. And then we want max and minimum. Okay, so let's run this. See, yeah, the maximum value of the list is 99 and the minimum value of the list is 33. So these are some of the inbuilt functions that you can use. You can check it out in Google. They'll show all the minimum value, all the built-in functions. Okay, uh, let's go to how to create your own functions, right? So creating functions. When you're creating a function, the function is defined by using the keyword def. Def means defined. Okay, and the syntax for it is something like this. We'll have def and then we'll give the function name. Inside after the function name we have to keep brackets. This brackets will tell that this is a function, not a variable. Okay, so it's saying Python that this is a function, not a variable. And then we'll give this so, colon, and then we'll have the function body or function block. And then when we created a function, we also have to use a function in our program, right? So for using a function, we have to call the function. That is called calling a function. So for calling a function, write the function name and use a parenthesis and give the required arguments. Arguments are parameters. So I'll just show you over here. Okay. Just, yeah. So I just want to make a simple function that will add 2 numbers. Okay, I want to define a function to add 2 numbers. Add. Okay. Okay, before going into this, let's take another simpler function. I just want to print hello or greet the people. Okay, so whenever I run this program, I want to greet the people. So I'll say greet. Okay, so here I created a function over here, and the arguments inside this are optional. If you have any arguments, you can give it. So for now, I don't want any arguments. I just want to give a simple function. So inside the function, I'll say print hello friends, welcome to this program. Okay, So this is how you define a function. The defining of the function is completed over here, right? So if you can see, I have also placed an indent over here, referring it as a block. So now how do you call a function? Like if I run this right now, I'm gonna run this right now. We don't see any output, right? That's because we just defined the function. We didn't call the function. So if you want to call the function inside the program, you have to say something like this: greet, and this will be calling the function. Okay. So now if I run it, I got the output. I got hello friends, welcome to this program. So yeah, this is working fine. So now what if I want to give some inputs into the function? Like if you see over here in these examples, let's take an example of absolute. So absolute, inside absolute we gave some parameter, right? The parameter is x. So we are giving some parameters inside the function. If you see inside, if you see example of length, in length also we're giving some parameter, right? If you see the max and minimum, here also we're giving a parameter, the list, the parameter over here is list, right? So in many functions, taking parameters is very common, right? Let's say you want to add two numbers and you want to create a function for that. Then the parameter there is you have to give the two numbers. You have to tell the Python that I want to add this number, number 1 and number 2. Then only it will be accepting, right? Or else it will think what number should I add. So you have to specify the parameters over there. So let's say I'll take the, now let's try to do a function by adding. So I'll define a function saying add. Now I have to give two arguments because I want to add two numbers. Okay, so I'll give a variable a and variable b, or not variable, parameter or argument. So now I can use these variable parameters inside the function. So now I can say c is equal to a plus b, or else I can just directly print it. That's fine. Let's just do this. So I'll say the sum is, and then we'll say a plus b. So sum of the numbers will be equal to a plus b. Now I'll try to call the function. I'll say add. I'll try to add 4 and 7. So what's the answer? 4 and 7, 11, right? If I do this, I got the value. I got the function's output as this. I got the output as the sum is 11, and that is true, right? 4 plus 7 is 11. So what am I doing out here? I assigned our parameter a and b, and over here I'm using those parameters inside our function. And the parameters over here, if you can see, I'm again giving two parameters inside. Whenever I'm calling the function, I'm giving two parameters. So whenever we're defining a function, how many parameters you're defining there has to be given whenever we're calling the function also. I give two parameters over here, and here also I'm giving two parameters. Okay, is that right? Do you have any doubts? I'll continue then. So we have done creating a function. Now let's see what are the parameters and arguments. So information can be passed into a function as arguments. As you can see, as you saw, I have passed the information, right? I took a and b as arguments, and I passed 4 and 7 as the information. And the arguments are specified after the function name. Yeah, after we gave the function name, inside the brackets we specify the arguments inside the parentheses. You can add as many. Yeah, there's no limit for the number of arguments. You can add as many arguments as you want, and you have to separate them with a comma in the middle. So yeah, if this is something like our example, so when we're adding, the parameters we give over here are known as formal arguments. Okay, so it's like they're imaginary variables. Okay, and they can only be used inside our function. These variables can only be used inside our function. And these the arguments which we gave inside when we're calling the function, like here I gave add 7 and 13, and these are called the actual arguments. Actual arguments means these are the actual things which we want to add, right? Here a and b are some imaginary numbers, it can be anything, but here 7 and 13 are the real values which I want to add. So there is a difference between formal and actual arguments. Okay, let's go over here. So what are these arguments over here? Shreyas, what are these arguments?
Formal arguments.
Great. Varsha, what are these arguments inside the add? Varsha, what are these arguments inside the add? 4 and 7. The values. Okay. Zubair, can you tell what are the values? Numbers being added. Yeah, they are the numbers being added. But I told you the name, right? Which type of arguments are there? Zubair, can you answer this? Which type of variables? Sorry, which type of argument? Zubair, try. Which type of argument is this? Integers. Informal. Okay. It's not informal, it's called actual. Okay. These are the actual values which are adding, right? So they are actual, right? These are known as the formal variable arguments, and these are the actual arguments. Okay, formal means say think that it's imaginary, and actual means the actual things which are adding over here. And inside this, instead of numbers, you can use other variables also. So if I define some x is equal to 77, y is equal to 100. So here I can use x and y also. Now if I run this, yeah, I got the answer 177. So the actual arguments over here is x and y. So the formal arguments are a and b. And now I have a doubt. What happens if I add one more argument over here? Let's say I just add 5. So will this be adding 5 also to 175? Will it add
No.
5 also?
No.
No. Okay. Give me the votes. I want votes from everyone.
No.
Yes. No. Okay. Varsha, Tejasvi, Harshita. No. Okay. And Tejasvi. No. Yep. Okay. Let's take a look. Now if I run this, I'm getting an error. It says add takes only 2 positional arguments, but 3 were given. Because how many parameters did we assign over here? I assigned only 2 parameters over there. But in the add I'm giving 3 parameters. So it will be like, what is the third function? Where should I assign it? I only have a and b. What should I assign? What should I be assigning 5 for? And it will get confused, and it will say only two should be given, but 3 were given. That it will give me a type error. So how many number of parameters are given over here? Those many should only be placed over here. Inside the function, when you're creating, how many parameters you have defined over there should only be used when you're calling the function. Okay. Now let's go to the return statement. So what is the return statement? The return statement with expression exits a function. So whenever we use a return statement, it exits a function. It's like something like a break in a loop. Okay, it exits the loop, right? So in return, it exits the function. and it can optionally be passing back an expression to the caller. So whenever we call the function in the program, it can give some argument over there. Okay, and then return statement with no arguments will be returning none. Okay, so if there is no expression after return, then it will give none as the value. So what can we do with return? We can access the value, we can assign the value to something, or we can use it in an expression. Okay, let's just see how to understand return. Okay, so over here, this type of function is known as procedure function. I'm not using the return statement over here, so it's called a procedure function. So this will only be doing task, and we cannot use it to be assigning something. Like we cannot assign this value to anything other, to anything else, right? So I cannot say anything like this. S is equal to add a comma b. I cannot say anything like this. In this type, I cannot say anything like s is equal to add a comma b when we are not giving any return value. So what does a return do? Return, first of all, it exits the function. That is okay. So if I say return, I can place return over here, and return also what it does is it gives out the value. It sends out the value of something which you give after the return. So we have to give an expression here, or we can give a variable over there, or a parameter over there, anything. So here what do we want? We want to return the sum of the two numbers. So I'll say return a plus b. So now what am I doing is, first of all, I have printed the command. Okay, now if I want to use this in any other part of the program, I want to use 100 plus 77, the value of that, in other part of program. Okay, so let's say, wait, before that I'll just show you one thing. Yeah, just take out this. I'll just try to keep this store it in a variable. Okay, it's coming right now. If I say print s, let's see what happened. It'll have none because we didn't return anything, right? So it'll have none. We're not storing anything inside that inside us. So now let's say now I'm giving a return statement over here. I'll say return a plus b. Oh, sorry, a plus b. Okay, so I'm saying return a plus b. Now let's see what happened. I'll give the print statement again. I'll say print s. So if I run it now what happened? The value of this addition is getting stored inside s. As you can see, before this is this value is before adding the return statement, and this value is after adding the statement return statement. So if you can see the difference, when I did not add the return statement, it's saying none, but when I have added the return statement, it's giving me the value of the addition. So I gave an expression over here, that's why it's returning the value. So when I use return, what can I do? I can store the value over here. Yeah, I am storing the value over here, and also if you see, it's also accessing the function. When I told s is equal to add express x comma y, then first of all it's running the function over here. It's running the function over here, and it takes the input of a plus b inside s. And when I say print s, it gives me the value of a plus b, or over here x plus y. Okay, did you understand this?
Yes, Raghav, one question. Can we define something C and C is equal to A plus B inside the definition itself and return C only?
Yeah, we can do. We can say C is equal to A plus B. Yeah, and we can return C over here. That is fine. This will give the same thing.
Okay.
If I run this, see, I got the same output. That is absolutely fine. Yeah. So until now we discussed two things of return. We can access the function by using return. I accessed it, and it gave me the it gave me the code whatever is inside the function, right? It has executed the function. And the second type is assign. I'm assigning the value of a plus b, or here x plus y, to s. So I have completed assignment also. The third one is expression. I'll just say this is assignment. Here I'll just print just as accessing. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing, and the reason why it's printing a statement over here is I have a print statement inside the function, right? That's why the function is printing it directly over here. If I don't have a print statement, then we won't get a print statement over here. Okay. Let's go to the last one, that is expression. So I'll say I'll have another variable p, and I'll say p is equal to 5 plus what is this, s. So p is equal to 5 plus s. We tried to do this before, right, with that. So we can do something like this right now. I'm taking another variable p, and I'm using the value of s in an expression. 5 plus s is an expression, right? So I'm using it in a form of an expression, and I'll print over here this is an expression, and then here I'll print p. So if I run this, when we're accessing, we got the value. I mean, we have run the function, and then this is the assignment over here. I got the assignment, I got the value inside s. From s I got the value, and then I also have a expression. So I have a 182. So this has worked. I got expression, I got assignment, and I also accessed the function by using return. I mean, while using return. Okay, so this is the return statement, and return is very important when we are using functions, right? Because if you want any value from inside the function, then you have to use return at any cost. Like if in this, what is getting returned? The value of the number of strings are getting returned, right? The value, I mean the number of characters inside the string are getting returned. If I say over here in max, the maximum number is getting returned. In minimum, the minimum number of the minimum value is getting returned. So most of the functions use the return function, use the return statement. Let's go to next. So how does Python pass an argument? So normally in any type of programming language, there are two types of passing. First type is pass by reference, and second type is pass by value. So what is pass by references? It means that the called function's parameter will be the same value as the caller's passed argument, and it doesn't mean the value inside it. It's saying the identity of it. And I'll show you this right now. First, okay. So over here I'll have a function def. I'll define it as change, and I'll take an argument a. The argument can be anything your wish, can name it anything. Okay, and I'll say a is equal to 50. So the any value which I give inside a will be converted into 50 over here. Okay, and then I'll say print a. Okay, so now I'll take a value a. This is outside this is being outside the function. Okay, outside the function I'm saying a is equal to 12. Now if I run change, okay, instead of a, let's take another variable. let's say x. You can take a also, but nothing happens. I'll just take x over here. So I'm saying change x to 50. Now if I run this, I got 50. Okay, I got the value as 50. But now if I say print the value of x is, and I'll print x over here. Let's say value inside function. Now if I run this, you can see it. Here I go first value inside the function is 50. That is fine. But over here, if I check it, it's saying 12 only. It's not changing the value of x. Why is it not changing the value of x? So let's just do a small test. So do you guys remember the id function? It's an inbuilt function, right? Id. What does it do? Rakesh, can you tell me what the id function does?
Yeah, it is basically the ID of that's internal Python ID of that particular variable, I guess.
Yeah, it will just tell the location of the value, right?
Yeah,
Tell us the location of the value where it is.
System.
Yeah, it will be varying from system. Yeah. So now I just want to print the ID of a, and here also we'll be printing the ID over here. So I'll say print ID of x. Sorry, this should be after this. Okay, I'm printing the ID of a, and I'm printing the ID of a x. Let's compare this. Okay. Let's say this is before changing, and let's say after changing. Before change. Okay. This is after change. After change. So now if I look at this, yeah, I'll say this is the value of x. This is the ID of yeah. So if you check it out right now, see, you can check that the value, the ID of x and the ID of a. See over here, I took the ID of a, right? In the starting, I took the ID of a before the change. So before the change is implemented, their both IDs are same. So their both location are same and the values are same. But after I changed it, the ID has been changed. Okay, the ID has been changed. Do you get me? The ID has been changed over here. So what is happening over here is that the parameter which we gave inside the function is only taking the value of it. It doesn't take the identity of x. It doesn't take the identity of x. It just takes the value of x from it. Okay. So whenever we take only the value of x, we don't change the identity of x after the function is done. So that's why when I printed x after the function, I still got the value of x as 12. You see, I still have the value of x as 12, and this will only happen when it's immutable, when x is immutable, right? X is an integer, and integers are immutable; they cannot be changed. But what about lists, or let's say strings or something like that? Lists or dictionaries or sets. Let's take about lists, dictionaries, and sets. So now I'll take another function. let's just do this. You guys are able to hear me, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'll define a function for a list. Okay. I'll say update list, and I'll take a input as a list. And then here I'll say the first value in list, should be equal to 20. Okay. And now I'll print the list, and I'm printing it from inside. I'm printing this inside the function. Okay, from inside the function. This is in function. Sorry. Let's take this, and now I'll print list. Now let's go out to the function. Here, let's take something else. I'll define the list over here. I'll say numbers. I'll have a list of numbers, and here I'll say 1, 100, 220. Okay, I'm just giving random numbers, and now I'll update this list. Update list num. The parameter I'm passing is num because I want to update the list num. Now I'll print outside function. Let's say num. Now I'll try to print this. Now let's run this. So now if you see, the value is changed, right? Inside the function and outside the function, the value has been changed. See, I'm accessing the value outside the function right now, and inside the function. If you compare them, the value is changed. Sorry, the value is the both are same. So the initial value of the list num which I gave is 120, but after I said update list, I got 20, 100 and 220. So what do you understand over here? So in the case of mutable objects such as lists, strings and dictionaries or sets, it now it's taking the reference. It takes the identity of num. It doesn't change the value. I mean, it doesn't take the value of it. The parameter doesn't take the value of it, but it takes the identity of it. Now I'll say print the ID of list. Okay, I'm doing this after changing it, right? And I'll print the ID of list over here also. The ID of num. Here it's num and here it's list. Okay, now if I do it, I'm running it, and as you can see, the IDs are same. So the identity is not changing over here, but only the values change. The value gets updated right now. So what is the difference? The difference between the first part and second part. Like if I take it for a immutable object, that is a integer, this is called passing by a value, because you're just considering the value inside the function. And over here, when I updated a list, this is called passing by what is that, reference, because you're taking the reference here as a variable num. This is taken as a reference, not a value. Did you get this? Do you guys understand this?
Can you repeat, Raghav?
Okay, I'll just take out this. Yeah. Okay, so I'm using both the functions right now. Okay, so if you can see over here, this is, yeah. So the ID of x. First, I'm printing the ID of x. Okay, the identity of x. So x is located at a location with this number. Okay, and when I check the ID of a inside the function, I'm checking the ID of a before changing it. Okay, this is the ID of a before changing the value of a. So now if I check the both the values are equal, right? The ID of x and the ID of a, they're equal, right?
Yeah.
Sangram, they're equal. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So now if I check after changing the value of a, I get a different value. Okay, you can see I got a different value from the previous two values.
Yeah.
Right. So what is happening over here is the value inside the value inside a is only changing. It is not affecting x over here. X is not getting affected by this function. The change function is not affecting x. Okay, because if I print the value of a, I'm getting 50, right? I change the value of a to 50 inside the function and I'm printing it, I'm getting 50. That's fine. But when I try to print the value of x, I'm getting 12. That says that x is not having any change inside it, because here I told it should up the variable should update or change the value inside x as 50, right? But when I print the value of 50, what am I getting? I'm getting 12. When I print the value of x, I'm getting 12. That means no change is happening for the variable x. Only the value x is taken inside the function and it's being processed, is being executed. Only the value is getting used. Okay.
Okay.
And now
In
we
that
compare
case,
this with
suppose we do c is equal to a plus b, then c will be updated, right?
can you repeat?
Yeah. When we are doing c is equal to a plus b, so c will be updated with the new value, right?
Okay, here I'll say c is equal to a plus b, right? Okay, here I'm not
Yeah.
taking any b value. I'll just say I'll give it over here. Okay, let's say a is equal to 50 plus a. Okay, so I'm just updating it with plus 50. Okay, it's similar to
Okay.
your question. Okay, so if I run this, I'll run this. So again the same thing is happening. I'm getting 62, but it's not updating 2x. Did you get it? In the previous example when we added it, I didn't call any x or y, right? Here if you see, x is not getting updated as 177 or y is not getting updated as 177.
Yeah.
When I assign to that function add, then only that is getting assigned to the value 177. So 177 is getting assigned to the variable x in that
Because
case.
if you come down, you have defined x is equal to 12 in the here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I have defined it.
that's why it's coming back to the value as again as 12.
Yeah.
I'm
See,
I'm little
we are,
confused actually.
okay, just see
Okay, then print.
the value. Tell me,
Can you go down?
Sanam, but
Can you go down, please? I want to see.
over here. Let me just lower this one.
Yeah, here. Yeah. So suppose this is idea of change the value of. Okay. So even if after doing this, the value of x is remaining same. Okay.
Okay, simply just compare these two situations. Okay, here I'm saying I'm giving a value x as 12, and I'm updating x as 50 inside the function. If you can see here, I'm saying let's take a as 50. I'm saying I'm updating the value of x as 50 inside the function. I'm telling it.
Okay.
Just take the same case over here, but here I'm instead of updating a number, I'm updating a list. Okay, and inside list I'm changing the first value to 20. Okay.
Okay.
So now if I print the value of x over here, what did I get?
Same 12
The
only.
value over here, if I print the value of x, I got 12 only, right?
Yeah.
I'll just run this again. So if I print the value of x, I got 12 only over here. But if I print the value of number list, I got the updated list, right?
Okay.
Did
Okay.
you get the difference?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So if it's a mutable object, then it will take pass by reference. If it's a immutable object, then it will take pass by value. These are two different things, and these are in terms of other languages. Okay, if you take if you're from a other language, then you have these two things. But actually Python doesn't follow any of this. It follows pass by object, which is a combination of both. This is a combination of both. So what pass by object is the same. If you pass a immutable object inside the argument, like integers, strings, or tuples, to a function, then it acts like call by value. And it's different when we pass a mutable object. When we pass a mutable object, it means you change what. Yeah, when we pass a mutable object, it takes us passed by reference. And if it's a pass by reference, the change happens to what the parameter is referring to, not the value of the parameter. So yeah, the same example is given over here. We have done this example, right? Right now it's the same example. So now let's go to function parameters. So what are the different types of parameters we have? So for this, let's take out this all. Okay, let's take this addition again. Okay, so here I'm taking this example again. I'm taking the addition example. So over here, okay, instead of the addition example, let's take another example. Yeah, that would be better. I'm defining a new function. I'll say diff. The function will be as car. Okay, in the car, let's say brand name, brand, and I have a model. Let's say brand and model, or else let's say year released. Let's take the brand and the year released. Okay, so over here I'll say print the car's brand is. Okay, the car's brand is, and let's print the brand over here, brand, and then I'll print the car's year of manufacture. Is, let's say it as year. Okay, now I'll take a function as car, and I'll say the model of the car is the brand of the car is Hyundai or Honda. Let's take Honda, and I'm saying that the year it was made is, let's say, 2012. Okay. Now if I run this function, okay, run this function. So I got the car's brand is Honda and the manufacturer and it's manufactured in the year 2012. Okay. So here in this situation, I know that the first argument is brand and the second argument is year. Okay. So now let's say I don't know the order of the arguments. Okay. I don't know the order of the arguments. Then what happens if I say something like I thought that the year was placed first and then the brand was placed. Brand. Now what will happen? If I run this, sorry, not brand, let's say Honda over here. Honda. Then what output will this be giving me? Can anyone answer what output will this be giving me? Shreyas, can you answer this?
Could be error.
Error. Okay, that's
Yeah,
one
because
option.
It will reverse itself.
You are passing integer
Okay,
in
string. Okay, can be. I got what? Someone else answered.
It will reverse itself. For example, brand is Honda, but you wrote 2012, the year. So the brand is 2012, and the year is
Okay.
Honda.
Yeah, good. So let's see what will happen right now. As you told, it got reversed. I got brand is 2012 and year is Honda. Okay, so yeah, Sangram, you told that it will get an error, and your explanation was it's a string and it's in this is an int, right? That was your explanation, right?
Yeah.
So over here, what happens is in Python everything are objects. Okay, they're not they're not defined as this is a string and this is an integer until they're given a value. Okay, so if you check over here, I got 2012 as int over here, right? Then
Yeah.
if I see, if I hover the mouse over here, it's saying brand is an integer because 2012 is an integer. And if I say over here, it's saying string is a year is a string. Now if I reverse the values, I'll keep this as 2012. Okay. Now if I hover the value, 2012 is an integer. Here now year has become an integer. And if I hover the mouse over here, brand is an integer because this is an integer, right?
So if we write Honda without single the quotes, will it accept?
No, that will not be accepted because it will think that Honda is some variable, and we do not define any variable having the name Honda, right? See, if you can check the error if you want. I'm giving it right this. It will say name Honda is not defined because it's considering Honda as some variable, and we did not define any variable with the name Honda. That is why you got this. Okay. So yeah, if you see this, it's like a silly mistake, right? Here we if I reversing the order will be a silly mistake. I said 2012. Okay, if I run this, now what am I getting? I'm getting it in reverse. It's saying car's brand is 2012 and year is Honda. So if it's like this, then maybe they'll just consider it simply as a small error. But what if you have some calculations with year? Like if you say till now how many years was it with that, then when we're using calculations, say I want to print something like this, print 2020 minus year. So that will give me the age of the car, right? It will give me something the age of the car. So if I try to do something like this will give me an error. It will say integer cannot be subtracted by a string. If I run this, intent string unsupported operand type, because I'm trying to subtract 2020 from Honda, right? I'm trying to subtract 2020 from Honda. So here, what is a mistake I'm doing? I'm giving the position wrong. So the first type is positional. Okay. To define arguments, first type is positional. If I keep something like this, Honda and 2012, this is a positional argument, and this is defined correctly. Now if I run this, yeah, we are getting 8 over here, right? So it's like the age of the car, and this is a good syntax. So now if you don't know the order of your arguments, then you can do one thing. I'll change the order. Let's say 2012 and Honda. So over here you have to define the argument name. So you can say here the year it was launched is 2012, and I'm saying the brand name. Brand it was given as Honda. Now if I check, the order is reversed, right? I gave the year first and the brands in the second position. But if I run it, the syntax is absolutely correct. I got the brand as Honda and the year as 2012. So this is called keyword arguments. Okay, we are defining the arguments by using the keywords. So in the functional parameters, first one is positional. That is giving the arguments by using the position. Second one is keyword, and then the third one is default. Let's see what is default. So for default, for default we'll take this example again. We'll take add. Okay, here I want to call a function. I'll say add, and I'll say add 5. So is this correct? I'll try to run it. Will this be working? Will this be working?
No.
Okay, no. Why won't it be working?
Because you are giving only one variable.
Yeah, because I'm giving only one value, right? So it will be like, hey, you only gave me one value of A. I don't know what's the value of B. So what should I do with B? I have a value. I'm using the value of B over here. It will be thinking, what should I do with B? So then what you can do over here is you can assign default values. So if the user doesn't give any values to it, you can have default values to it. So I'll say default value is 0. The B's default value is 0. I'll take it as 0. Now if I run it, I'm getting I'm not saying I'm saying add 5, but I didn't give any other value. So I'm saying the sum of 5 with nothing is 5. Now I have a doubt. What if I give some value over here? I'll say 14. Then will it consider 14, or will it consider 0 over here? What will it be considering?
14.
14. Okay, let's check. Yeah, exactly right. So it considered 14 and we got the output as 19. So this is a way to give default values, and this will minimize errors when you're using programming, right? If there's some user who doesn't know which parameters are there, or what, if we have to specify some parameters, then you can use this default parametering so that you can minimize the error. So this is about default, and then the last one is variable length. So the variable length. Now, in the previous example, I gave something like I took a value of x as 4, and then the value of y, let's say 13. Okay, now I want to say x and y, and I want to add something else also. I want to add 7 also. So over here, what am I doing? What is the mistake I'm doing over here? Harshita, what is the mistake I'm doing over here? Harshita. Okay, Tejasvi, what is the mistake I'm doing over here? Tejasvi, are you there? What is the mistake I'm doing over here? Anyone other answer? Zubair, can you answer? Come on, guys, I want answers. It's very easy. What is the mistake?
You
You did
you are
not
getting three
assign.
arguments.
Additional input.
Okay, Shreyas told 7 is a mistake. Zubair, what is your answer?
Yeah, 7 because you did not assign any number, any value to it, right?
Yeah, I didn't give any parameter for it. Okay, good. And yeah, there cannot be a third value. Good, Varsha. Yeah. So here the problem for me is I can't give any other values other than these two parameters. But what if I have a function that I want to add all the values which I give inside the add function? Like I can't limit my add function to only two values, right? Then what is the use? What if I want to add more than two numbers? Then what should I do? Over there, our problem is that we don't know how many number of values are being given. So what should we do over there? Then we can add this is called variable length. So this will give something like the length of the number of parameters is not defined, so it can have unlimited length. So I'm giving, whenever we place a star before the parameter name, that will be taken as it can we can consider any number of variables, any number of arguments over there. But I'm saying at least one argument should be there. That's why I'm giving a. At least one argument should be there, and after that we can give any number of arguments. And over here, what should I do? Yeah, before this, let me just show you. Let's say I'll print a, and I'll also print b. So now let's check what will happen. I'll give 5 values: 7, 18, and 30. Okay. So if I run this right now, let's not take this. This will give error. So if you observe right now, if I say print a, I got the value of a as x. The value in x is 4. So the value of a is 4. And when I say print b, I got all these values together. So I got 13, 17, 18, and 30. And which type is this? Is it an integer type? Is it a list? Is it a tuple? Or is it a string, dictionary, set? Which type is it?
It's a tuple.
Tuple. Shreyas, it's not list, it's a tuple because it's specified with round brackets, right? You can get to know with by seeing which type of bracket it's surrounded with. So it's surrounded with round brackets, so it's a tuple, right? So can you add a and b right now? Can you add a and b right now? Rakesh, you want to answer? Can you add a and b right now? Yes. Okay, Shreyas,
no, as
No,
such, because B is a list, no, B is a tuple.
no. Okay, let's
no.
see. Let's try to add. Let's say I want to return a plus b, and I want to print a plus b. We don't want to return right now. Let's not return it. Okay. Let's say print a plus b. So it will say unsupported operand into with tuple. So we cannot add an integer and tuple, right? So that's the error over here. So now what should I do? I have to unpack the tuple b. Unpacking means I want to get all the values one by one. So how can we do it? How can we access the values one by one from the tuple? Does anyone have an idea? Sangram?
No, I
Rakesh?
don't remember. Sorry.
Okay.
We have to use
we
some
can
indexing
assign the
method.
values. We can assign the values to the other numbers.
Okay, you can assign the values to numbers. Okay, that is one way. But that will be too long because and we don't know how many
But
values
we
will be
don't know how
taken.
many numbers.
Yeah,
Correct.
we don't know how
Okay.
many numbers will be taken. So that is a problem out there. Let's see what. Add all the values inside the tuple. But to add all the values inside the tuple, we have to access the tuple, right? We have to get the values one by one. How
Right,
to
so we
get the
have to
values one by one?
yeah, for loop and then indexing something of that sort we have to do. There is no other option.
What Rakesh?
Maybe a for loop with indexing inside, adding
Yeah,
something
exactly.
of
Yeah,
that sort. There was some.
yeah, exactly. That's true. So we can use a for loop. We can say for I in this b. For I in b, let's say I plus yeah, we'll take a plus equal to I. Okay. So what will happen? We're one by one adding all the values to a, and we're assigning it back to a only. We're assigning back to a itself. And if now I can say print a, that will give me all the sum. It will give me the sum of all the values. So if I run this right now, I got the sum of all values. 4 plus 13 plus 7 plus 18. Let's just do it over here. Sorry. Python, let's try 4 plus 7 plus 13 plus 18 plus 30. So we got 72, right? So it's working fine. Yeah, good, Rakesh. So we got the value. That's great. So yeah, so this is a type where we don't have a definite number of values. I mean, we don't know how many values are going to be given inside the given as arguments. So whenever we are using something like that, first we have to unpack it. This is this type over here. We are unpacking it by using a for loop. Okay. And then
Instead of 1 second, Raghav.
yeah.
So can we say only star B, add star B and do this activity
What?
rather than defining a comma star B,
Okay.
we can do only add star B.
Yeah, we can do
And
only star B also, but like if you do only star B, then that means no values can also be accepted, right? But I want at least one value. That's why I'm giving A. We can do star B also.
okay.
That will also be doing the same thing. Okay. See, if I run this, I'll show you the difference. 1 minute. It's saying local value.
I think his question is something else.
Oh yeah, A should not be
Raghav's
given over
question
here.
is something else, I guess.
What?
I guess his question is something else.
No, we can.
He's saying A, then comma, add,
No.
add star B in the sense.
I was asking this only, Rakesh. Like
So
star
removing
B
A, you are
only.
saying.
Yes.
Okay, that you already clarified before. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So for this, let's just define a variable over here. C is equal to 0. So I want to add all the values to C over here. C, and I'll print C at the end. So if I run this, we'll get the value 72. But the thing is, this will work even if I don't give anything also. See, I didn't give anything also. So what's the use of having nothing inside the function, right? So I'm like, at least I want one argument. That's why I gave A. If I give A, I'll show you a difference. 1 minute. Yeah, until here, right? Now I'll take out all the values. If I take out all the values over here, now if I run it, it's saying yeah, it's saying he is not getting inside, right?
You need to
Wait.
define a.
Yeah, I'll define it. Yeah, it's saying missing one required position argument A, right? So I'm just defaulting at least one value should be there. I'm telling something like that. Okay. So this is fine when we have numbers, right? If we have numbers, that's okay. Like if we have only one type of data, this is okay. Now let's get back to our card example. Okay. So I have some more. I want to add some more things. Say I am a buyer. I'm a buyer and I'm going to buy this. So I'll take the brand. I'll take the year where it is when it is manufactured, and I'll take the mobile number also. I'm giving my mobile number for reference, right? We give the mobile number while we're purchasing it, right? So I want to give the mobile number also. I want to give the city also. So for different people, let's say we give different inputs. Then how can I link them both? What if I take something like this, I'll say let's say brand is a must, and I'll say I'll take the arguments info. Everything else as info. Okay. Now the first thing over here is brand. I know that, right? So brand. Sorry, let's take Honda, and then I'm saying that the year is 2012. Again, let's say my mobile number is some 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then let's say the city it was purchased is Hyderabad. Okay, let's give these many parameters. Okay, that is fine. So I have 3 extra parameters than expected, right? I have 3 extra parameters right now. Then how will I know that which one is related to which parameter? See, I can place 2012 afterwards also. I can place 2012 in the end. I can place the city at the starting. I can place the number in the end or in the starting. Then how will I know uh, which one is related to which one? If I print this, say I'm gonna unpack this and I'd say print for in info print. Let's just do something like this. Yeah, so I got cars brand name is this, and I just got 2012. I got this number and I got Hyderabad. So what if there's some other parameter? Let's say city I drove to. I'll say Mumbai. I drove to Mumbai. Then what will happen? Then there will be a confusion, right? We don't know if the city he bought it is in Mumbai or Hyderabad, or city he drove to is in Mumbai or Hyderabad, right? So now we have to give some keywords to it. Like as we did in the before one, we said brand is equal to Honda, info is equal, year is equal to 2012, like that. We give something like that, right? So I want to add some keywords to it. I want to say the year is 2012, the mobile number is 123456, the city I brought it is Hyderabad, the city I went to is Mumbai, something like that. Then for that, to add keywords to it, the first thing I had to do is add another star over here. When there's a single star, that means it will be taken as unlimited arguments. When there's a double star, that will be taken as unlimited keyword arguments. Keyword arguments means whenever you're defining it over here, you have to give a keyword over here. So I have to say year is equal to this 2012. I have to say mobile number. I'll say mob is equal to this. I'll say city of purchase. So I'll say city of purchase is equal to this. Let's say city I went to. City went is this. Now what will happen to this is it will be formed as a dictionary. It will get will get found as a dictionary. Let's just check what happened. Let's say I'll print info. Now if I run this again, Tejas, I guess you are getting this same error right now, which I'm getting, right? See, I'm exiting this and I'm running it. This should work properly. Yeah. So if you can see now, it's in a form of a dictionary, right? How can you notice it's in a form of dictionary? First thing, it has curly braces, and second thing, it has like the key. It has a key and a value differentiated with the colon in the between, right? So that's how you can get to know it's a dictionary. And now what I want to do is I want to print the key value and the key value and the value of it. So for doing that, I can again use a for loop to unpack it. I'm saying for, and over here I actually missed it in the last class, so I can do it over here. I comma j. Here I'm taking two variables for in the for loop, and I'm saying for I comma j in the dictionary in info, and info items. Okay, info dot items. So what does info dot items do? Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember what the items function does in dictionary?
It will give the year, mob, those things. It means the specifier basically.
Yeah, it will give something like this. Let's say I'll print this. So in an item we'll have a list of tuples. Okay, and each tuple will have the key and the value. Okay, we have a list of tuples, and in each tuple we have a key and a value. That is how we'll get when we say dot items. So now when I say for loop, when I have a for loop for I comma j in info dot items. Okay, we cannot directly access to a dictionary. We have to use items only. Okay, so what this will do is I will take up all the key values. I will take year, mobile, and then city of purchase and city of work, and J will take all the values. So 2012 mobile number, Hyderabad and Mumbai. So now if I try to print, just say print let's say this, let's just print I comma j. Now if I run this is a better understanding, right? We can with the first sentence is the car brand is Honda. Okay, then we have year is 2012, mobile number is 123456, city of purchase is Hyderabad, city we went to is Mumbai. So this will give us a better explanation to the values. Okay, so these are the keywords, and this will be accessed in a form of dictionary. Okay, we'll be stopping here for today. We just have one last topic, that is scope of variables. I'll be completing that tomorrow. Okay, with the tomorrow's topic I'll be completing that. Do you guys have any doubts until now? Do you guys have any doubts?
No doubts. Previous sessions were very easy, Raghav.
Yeah.
You are slowly climbing mountains slowly.
Yeah. I told you, right? We're going deeper into the session.
It's understandable. But it's understandable. There's no.
Okay.
I have a question. Whenever I click the video of YouTube, it is showing me private video.
Yeah. I guess you have to subscribe it. And did you share your email ID to us? Just send the email ID.
I did already.
Did you subscribe?
Raghav, yeah.
I'll send it to you again.
Yeah, just send me a screenshot. We'll check into it.
Okay.
Raghav,
Yes.
this video will it be available after the classes also? Means like after this?
Yeah, it will be it will be available to you after the classes also.
Okay. And by any chance, is it possible to share the PPTs, or it's not possible?
Yeah, we'll send it after at the end of the session.
The PPTs presentation.
Yeah, I'll send it to you in the end of the sessions.
Okay, end of the complete class.
Yeah,
you mean to
better.
say.
It will be easy for us to refer.
Yeah.
And means completion of the entire class. You mean to say, Raghav?
Yeah, completion of the entire classes.
Okay, no problem. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, then I'll end the meeting right now. Any more doubts?
No doubt.
Okay.